Hello and welcome. You're with us here on Business Today TV. I'm Abha Bukaya. Here are the day's top stories. Wait for U.S. visas extends to January 2025 as Prime Minister Modi readies for his historic visit to the U.S. BTTV speaks exclusively to envoys of the countries. U.S. opens slots for students in July and August. Nifty flirts with its lifetime high but fails to breach the mark, falls 71 points on profit booking and weak global sentiment. Sensex down 216 points. Mid-caps and small caps continue their outperformance. Big worry for policymakers as a tardy monsoon delays kharif crop sowing. Land under cultivation down 57% on year. We speak to experts to find out how this will impact you. The sovereign gold bond scheme opens for subscription again. You can buy gold at 5,926 rupees per gram. Bullion expert tells whether subscribing to these bonds is a profitable deal for you or not. State Bank of India outlines the real impact of 2,000 rupee note withdrawal, says could boost GDP growth, push people to repay loans and give a major push to consumption. Even as Prime Minister Narendra Modi leaves for the U.S. for his first ever state visit in just a few hours from now, he takes with him the baggage of Indians having to wait for years for a U.S. visa. While there have been a lot of promises from both sides to reduce the waiting times, applicants for a U.S. tourist visa still have to wait nearly 2 years in Mumbai. Things have improved a little for students, with the U.S. Embassy opening some slots in July and August.
Visa wait times have been one of the biggest sticking points in Indo-US relations for the past 3 years. Ever since staff at the US Embassy and consulates in India was trimmed because of COVID-19, wait times for appointments have skyrocketed, earning the ire of tourists, students and businessmen alike. Currently, if you want a tourist visa for the US, you will have to wait till 12th of September 2024 for an appointment in Delhi. In Mumbai, the earliest appointment is available only after 589 days, that is on the 28th of January 2025. This puts India as a country with one of the longest waiting times for a tourist visa appointment. In Beijing, tourists have to wait for 140 days for an appointment, while in Istanbul, the waiting period is 342 days. Even in Karachi has a much lower waiting period. Applicants in Seoul has to wait just over 2 months. The issue is one of the biggest thorns in diplomatic relations between the US and India.
When it comes to the people-to-people, we're going to see, I think, some agreements to move forward on climate work. We're going to see agreements on education and hopefully some good things that will connect our people with fewer wait times for folks who are looking to travel to the United States.
We asking for visas are the best friends of United States. So therefore, whatever can be done to facilitate that should be done. I believe that during this visit, a number of initiatives are definitely up for discussions and also for implementation. I do want to also take this opportunity to mention to you that there is a huge interest in US universities about collaborating and tying up with Indian institutions.
The pressure and the upcoming visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi seems to have had some impact on the US consular operations in India. The US Embassy last evening opened additional slots for students hoping to join the fall semester in US universities. Slots have been made available from mid-July to mid-August. US officials expect the number of Indian students moving to the US to reach a new high this year, up from the record-breaking 125,000 student visas issued last year, more than any other nationality.
I will say, with respect to visas, our consular teams have been making a huge push to process as many visa applications as possible in India, including in those visa categories that are key to the bilateral relationship. This is a top priority for our government. We know that there is more work that we can do, and we are working hard to do it.
It's not only the US visa which are sore grapes for Indian students. Even Schengen visa required for Europe is not easily available. Spain, Italy and Germany have no slots available, while Switzerland and France have slots end of this month. Tourists and students are hoping Prime Minister's visit to the US will bring them some relief in the waiting times. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
Prime Minister Modi's trip to the US this week is heavy on optics, with him slated for a ceremonial welcome at the White House, a state dinner by the Bidens and a rare second address to the joint sitting of the US Congress. But the trip is heavy on substance as well. The Prime Minister is meeting some of the top CEOs of US industry, and the delegation is expected to clinch some very large deals, both in business and defense.
It is India's soft power at its loudest. Preparations are underway at the North Lawns of the United Nations headquarters in New York City for Prime Minister Modi's Asana diplomacy on International Yoga Day on 21st of June. The historic event is to be attended by hundreds, including UN Secretary General Kasaba Korosi and diplomats, ambassadors and representatives from nearly 180 countries. This demonstration of Indian soft power is just a precursor to 2 days of hard, bare-knuckles negotiations expected in Washington, D.C. The Prime Minister has a full itinerary. He will jump into action as soon as he reaches New York early morning on Wednesday. On the 21st, the Prime Minister will lead Yoga Day celebrations at New York, which will be followed by several engagements and departure for Washington, D.C. Next day, he will be felicitated at a ceremonial welcome at the White House, followed by bilateral talks with President Joe Biden. The evening will have the Bidens host a state dinner for the Indian Prime Minister. Modi will then get the singular honor of addressing a joint session of the US Congress a second time.
प्रधानमंत्री जो है अमेरिका के संसद पे भाषण देंगे। ये जॉइंट एड्रेस होता है कांग्रेस को। आज तक कोई भी भारत का प्रधानमंत्री इसको 2 बार उन्होंने संसद को संबोधित नहीं किया। ये पहली बार होगा और दुनिया में भी बहुत कम लोग हैं, जैसे विंस्टन चर्चिल हैं, नेल्सन मंडेला हैं। ऐसे ही माने गिने चुने लोग हैं जिन्होंने यूएस कांग्रेस को 2 बार संबोधित किया।
The show of solidarity between the two governments will continue, with the Prime Minister hosting a luncheon event on Friday jointly with US Vice President Kamala Harris and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. What follows is some high-powered meetings with around 20 US CEOs who already do business in India or are keen to get a foothold in the Indian markets. The CEOs include Shantanu Narayan of Adobe Systems, Julie Sweet of Accenture, Ryan McHenry of Visa, as well as Michael Maybach of MasterCard, both reportedly keen on boarding the Indian digital payments superwagon, and James Quincy, the CEO of Coca-Cola.
हम जो है अपने हित से देखते हैं और रिश्तों की परिप्रेक्ष्य से देखते हैं, तो मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि इस विजिट से आप आउटकम देखेंगे, बहुत माने जबरदस्त आउटकम निकलेंगे, पर क्या निकलेंगे मैं अभी आपको बता नहीं सकता।
Some of the big outcomes which are already expected are an investment up to $2 billion by Micron Technologies, a crucial deal to buy 31 Predator drones, and a deal to allow General Electric to manufacture jet engines for Indian military aircraft within India. These engines will be used by the second iteration of the light combat aircraft and the under development advanced medium combat aircraft.
Well, both the Indian and the US governments are burning the midnight oil to make sure that PM Modi's visit to the US is fruitful and the objectives are met. In fact, to say the word is Zabardast in a way that the External Affairs Minister has also set. And the optics are well set because it's going to be a ceremonial welcome at the White House, followed by a state dinner and of course an address jointly by the US Congress. Reporting for Business Today Television in New Delhi, this is Karishma Sudani.
The slow progress of monsoons has delayed the sowing of key kharif crops. According to a report by AgriWatch, farmers had sown just 1.8 lakh hectares under kharif pulses as on 16th of June 2023, significantly down by 57% from the same time last year. There is a significant delay in the sowing of key kharif crops such as paddy, oilseeds and pulses. According to reports, there was a lag of 10 to 12 days in sowing, and further delay could also lead to a lower yield. The country is currently 37% deficient in rainfall, and while central India is 55% deficient, the shortfall in the southern peninsula is 61%. Joining us for a deeper perspective is Tanmay Kumar Deepak, Head of Research at AgriWatch. Tanmay, thanks for joining us. Give us a picture of really how bleak the situation is looking currently.
Basically, what is happening right now, as we all aware, that the monsoon this year is delayed.
Yeah.
And apart from this monsoon, this cyclone which has just formed over the Arabian Sea, this Biparjoy, and some cyclonic circulations which has formed over the eastern part of our country. Because of this, the progress of monsoon has already been delayed, and it is now stalled over the south. And as we can see, as per the report from the IMD only, the Meteorological Department, this monsoon has covered the entire Kerala and most of the parts of Karnataka. But still, these two states are in deficit to large deficit category, as you just now said. And we expect that the observations we have and the data which we used to analyze, based on that, our experience says that rest of the countries may receive some amount of rainfall towards the end of this month to early July. And that will be the point when farmers will start the cultivation of all the crops. But looking at the prices of the entire crops for last year and recently which is going on, we have seen that the pulses prices have done a very, I would say it is very much lucrative for farmers. The prices for tuor, you must be aware that it has increased by more than 20%. Similarly for urad, that black gram, its prices have also gone up. Moong prices have also gone up significantly. And apart from this, the center has recently announced the higher MSP for all the kharif pulses, and for other crops definitely. But the rate of increase in MSP for pulses is much better than the other crops. If we compare with the paddy, maize and other oilseeds, in oilseeds they have definitely increased the MSP significantly for sesame by 800 or more than 800 rupees. But again, it is grown in very small pockets of India, in central India mostly, the Bundelkhand region. So definitely there would be some increase in sesame area this year, but farmers will be more inclined for this pulses crop for two reasons. Number one, as I said, that prices are very lucrative, and secondly, the MSP the center has increased. It is very good and attractive for the farmers. And secondly, the pulses are less water intensive crop, and all these three pulses are performing very well this season price wise. So we are expecting that definitely the acreage for pulses will go up, but there will be a delay, or as you have already mentioned that there is a 10-12 days delay in sowing, and that is why almost entire crop acreage of entire crop is going down, or it is down. So we expect that the farmers will, as and when the country will receive some rainfall activity in coming days, the farmers will first opt for pulses cultivation.
Sure.
And acreage for tuor, urad and moong. All these three pulses this kharif will go up.
Sure. Okay. Tanmay, what's the overall impact then that you foresee when it comes to the economic impact that we're looking at here, as you mentioned in these various pockets? If we take a cumulative assessment, what would you project?
What I think overall pulses will definitely perform good, but yes, any delay beyond mid July would cost in the yield of the farmers. The final yields will get reduced if any further delay beyond July 15, and basically the short duration crops like moong, urad. These crops are very vulnerable to delay in sowing, and if there will be any delay, then yield of these crops will definitely going to be harmed, and the optimum yield will not be farmers will not be able to get the optimum yield from these crops, and definitely the return for the farmers, it will be higher, but it is not as expected as they are anticipating as of now based on the prices. And for the long duration crop, yes, definitely there is a window of sowing. They can sow it till mid-August, or sometimes by August end also, like tour crop. They can sow it to till August 15th, or even they can extend up to end of August.
Okay.
So for long duration crops, I don't think there will be much impact, and rest everything depends on the distribution of the monsoon, particularly after the mid-July.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Tanmay, with a clear picture of really how things are unfolding on this front.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The withdrawal of the 2,000 rupee currency note is likely to boost bank deposits and even help in repayment of loans. A report by the State Bank of India describes the withdrawal as a precision strike by the RBI, saying that UPI could be the new 2,000 rupee notes. According to the SBI, around 1.8 lakh crore rupees in currency notes have been returned to banks, of which 1.5 lakh crore rupees have been deposited and the rest have been exchanged for smaller denomination notes. According to the report, not only would this result in a liquidity boost, but also a boost in repayment of loans, a boost to the RBI's e-rupee plans, and a possible boost to GDP. Business Today Managing Editor Siddharth Ravi spoke to the author of this report, Soumya Kanti Ghosh, Group Chief Economic Advisor of SBI, about the findings. Here's an excerpt.
DG payments at petrol pumps have fallen significantly from 40% to 10%. Expand on that. People are just coming in and buying petrol and exhausting their supply of 2,000 notes?
Yes. So basically this is an consumption boost. So whatever you are paying to if somebody is going and spending at the petrol pump, so that amount of money will now be deposited by the petrol pump owners, maybe in their current account. So that will give a boost to the low cost deposit account of the bank. So basically that will also lead to an improvement in CASA. But the second corollary of this, that a part of this is also getting withdrawn. We have seen that there has been an increase in ATM transaction also in the last couple of fortnight after this note was discontinued. So that means that a part of the money, and we estimate that around 60% of that, a part of the money in savings account is being withdrawn for lower denomination notes. So
has it been possible for you to determine how much, because you've also said that cash on delivery, e-commerce has also seen a uptick and increase. Have you been able to quantify how much that kind of sales and purchase have increased by?
See, it's difficult to quantify those numbers, but obviously this will be a part of that 55,000 crore consumption boost, which we are estimating is happening purely because of this withdrawal of the note. 55,000 crore, we can actually get a consumption multiplier of 1.8 trillion, so which is not a small number. And this number, if it is added to the private funnel consumption expenditure for Q1, you can actually have a GDP growth rate which could be in excess of 8%, which the RBI is projecting for FY24.
While the whole world is still undergoing a lot of volatility, inflation pressures in the developed economies, what does this broadly mean for the entire financial year, Mr. Ghosh? Because like you've been pointing out, there is a front loading of consumption. But it would also mean that once people sort of are through with this cycle of replacement exchange of 2,000 rupee notes, there will be a dip as well.
Let me answer your question in a different manner. So right now we are seeing that 60% of his amount is being withdrawn from the banks. So over a point of time, as people deposit more and more 2,000 rupee notes into the system, this 60% number could actually go up, because from that point of view, of course, this impact could get a little bit diminished over a point of time, but it could be also possible that this ratio of withdrawal to the total deposit number could also go up. So on the net basis, it is difficult to say, but obviously the maximum impact on consumption will be at least till September, or if till September in terms of a boost to the overall growth. And I think that's good for us also, because the way the markets have been moving from April to June this year, the total amount of portfolio capital inflows which has come into in the April to June is at least US 8.5 billion. So that means at least 50,000 crores of money has flown into the stock market. So overall, all this augurs well for the economy. There could be some point of concerns. Monsoon is one of them, as we can see that the monsoon has been delayed, but let's hope that it makes up for adequate rains in the next fortnight or so.
Uptick in sales of furniture, a rise in temple donations through 2,000 rupee notes. Have you noticed anything about the real estate sector? Because anecdotally there are reports of much higher prices luxury home launches. Is there some correlation in that as well?
It could be possible, but I think right now the rules are also very strict from that perspective, because you cannot pay any transaction over 2 lakhs. You cannot keep cash more than 2 lakhs with you. So the rules are very strict, but that doesn't deter a part of this payment being made through these currency transactions in some of the places.
Well, what's your own sense, broadly speaking, about interest rates? The divergence between India's consumption and Bharat's consumption, the rural part of the economy, is well taken. But on the overall, where do you see the cost of capital heading in the next 3 to 9 months?
See, that is the point. This is the interesting point. I think if growth rate remains strong, as we had penciling in a first quarter growth of more than 8%, and the numbers are likely to be released on the last day of August. I think 31st, depending on whether it's a weekday. And the RBI August policy is supposed to be in the first half of August. So if growth remains strong, I don't see large possibility of any rate action by the Reserve Bank at this point of time.
Meanwhile, Amazon is accepting cash deposits of 2,000 rupee notes at your doorstep. The e-commerce company has found an opportunity to ramp up its Amazon Pay business. All you need to do is simply hand over the cash you want to deposit, including 2,000 rupee notes, to your Amazon delivery associate. The cash will be added to the new Amazon Pay cash load option, where you can deposit cash into your Amazon Pay balance account. You can load cash up to 50,000 rupees per month, which gives you flexibility for your spending needs. With the loaded money, you can pay for online purchases, use scan and pay at stores, or shop on Amazon using the balance. Amazon claims that you can even transfer it to your bank account or send it to friends and family. In a major decision, SEBI has banned brokerage IIFL from onboarding new clients for 2 years. In an order passed this evening, the capital markets regulator said the company has flagrantly violated regulatory instructions. IIFL, the order stated, firstly didn't assign its accounts appropriate nomenclature, wherein it was keeping clients' money so as to clearly label them as client accounts. Additionally, it said it was mixing clients' funds with its own funds before using those mixed funds for its own proprietary usage. According to SEBI, IIFL was using funds of its credit balance clients not only to fund trades of its debit balance clients, but also to fund its own trades. That's all we have time for on the show tonight. Thanks so much for watching.